So I just finished watching episode 2 of the, should I say infamous Dragon Ball GT? I don't know if it's infamous enough for me to call it infamous, but I did just finish watching episode 2 of Dragon Ball GT in my first time watching Dragon Ball GT. Welcome back if you were here for last episode. This is my first watch through of Dragon Ball GT, and so I decided to record my thoughts in I guess you could say it's a review style format. I consider this to be a bit informal for a review, but it's me giving my thoughts and reactions to each episode of Dragon Ball GT as I watched through it for the first time. The whole reason I started doing this in the first place was because as of the time I'm recording this, it's January 6th, 2021, and we're still sort of in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, they're distributing vaccines and such, but I'm stuck at home for the most part, and there isn't really any new Dragon Ball as well. There's basically just the manga, but basically in terms of new anime content, there isn't really much for people to watch. Last thing we got was Dragon Ball Super Broly, which released in late 2018, early 2019, and so most of the fandom's just been, reading the manga as a new chapter comes out once a month and waiting. So, there really wasn't a better time to watch Dragon Ball GT for the first time, since I don't know if we're going to be getting any new content soon. But on to episode 2 of Dragon Ball GT, and I'm going to start off by touching upon something which I mentioned last episode, and that is this series going to have a lot of stuff which feels like filler? Now, I mentioned that back in the previous 2 series, filler would be stuff that wasn't in the manga that they put in order to prevent in order to allow the manga to catch up more, you know what I mean? Or to put it more accurately, so that they don't catch up with the manga. Here, with this series, since there is no manga, I wondered how much of it is going to feel like filler. And with this episode, a lot of it really did feel like filler. Like, this felt like a mostly filler episode with like one significant plot thing. Now, there's 2, in film and TV, there's usually your A plot and your B plot. And basically, there was no A plot in this episode, there's just 2 B plots. Pan goes off because she feels like everyone's treating her like a kid, and Goku gets kidnapped. And with Pan's storyline in this episode, I did feel, while it did feel filler-ish, at least it gave us some insight into her character, how people treat her, and how she feels. Because with the last episode, we saw her, her introduction was her beating the crap out of those bad guys. But we, now with this, we understand people treat her like a kid because she is a kid, but she doesn't like being treated that way. She wants to be treated like an adult. She goes to see her grandfather, Mr. Satan. They have, ice cream. Or he has ice cream. She has black coffee because she's so mature. But Goku's storyline, on the other hand, I have no idea what the point of it was, other than to just fill out the runtime. Basically, Goku gets kidnapped, or at least he doesn't even realize he gets kidnapped. These 2 people kidnap Goku, and they basically, just go around for the entire episode trying to distract him until they get scared of him and run away. Which is another thing, Goku, now that he's a kid, I feel like the writers are just writing him as if he is a kid, as opposed to a child in an adult's body. And I have nothing wrong with Goku being, Goku, maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he definitely should feel like an adult Goku in a child Goku's body, where, as with this, I feel like I'm just watching Kid Goku, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm watching adult Goku in the body of a child. I feel like I'm watching child Goku in the body of child Goku. And this ties back in with what I mentioned last episode as well, about how the writers are trying to bring it back to that classic Dragon Ball feeling, and they're getting mixed results with it. And part of it has to do with, like, we want to go back to having Kid Goku, but, like, everyone else is still older than they were in Z. And so it's like, I hope the series at some point, finds its footing with this, because not that this is the worst thing in the world, but I'd rather, like, they tried to just think, okay, what do we do next, as opposed to, like, sort of forcing Goku to be young again. With that said, though, it is nice seeing a lot of the old characters again. It's nice seeing Mr. Satan. It's especially nice seeing Bulma. Just because, I love these characters. And, I need to comment. Last episode, I said that I liked how Gohan looked. And I especially commented on how they did a good job with his hair, as opposed to in Super, where it's too short most of the time. And in this episode, they have the exact opposite problem. Gohan's hair is, like, so, like, straight, like, huge in this episode. I don't know what happened. Speaking of hair, we did get a little bit of Vegeta. Just a little bit of Vegeta. A very unceremonious introduction. He has a mustache now. He has his, what was that name of that actor in, like, the 1970s who had, like, the big mustache? And he played like Magnum P.I., and Vegeta looks like that guy now with his mustache. But, yeah. So it was interesting seeing the gang. They've gone off. They've started their adventure into space because Pan, despite the fact that she wants to be an adult, she was the one who just pressed the on button on the rocket ship and launched them away. So, yeah, there isn't much to say with this episode because it is mostly filler, which it's weird to say mostly filler in an anime which has no manga. So if you're going, like, in technical terms, and I guess technically this wouldn't be filler, but it's filler, let's be honest. Yeah. But that's all for this episode. There wasn't much to say. I'll be interested to see what happens in the next few episodes, because I think the storyline is beginning to pick up a little bit. They're actually going to begin going on the adventures. I should comment on Goten and Trunks, how Goten's like this ladies' man and Trunks is like the president of Capsule Corp. I'm expecting to see more of Trunks' characterization develop throughout the series, but I don't know. Because Trunks is staying on as, like, one of the main characters, whereas Goten seems to be shoved to the side, which is a shame, because I do think they should try and give Goten more character and stuff. But, we'll see. We'll see how this develops. We'll see how the gang gets along. Hopefully it'll just be some fun adventures, but I don't know. What I will say is I don't know how, like, they can carry on with fun adventures, because, like, they have a time limit of 1 year to save the Earth. And so I think, like, if they try and do super serious, then, like, it'll contrast with what they've set up here. And at the same time, if they try to do just lighthearted fun adventures like at the beginning of Dragon Ball, then it'll contrast, it won't work with the fact that the Earth is going to get destroyed. I'm going to wonder, looking back on it once I finish, I'm going to wonder if it would have worked better if the whole goal was, like, because I don't think you really need the Earth to be destroyed in order to, like, have a goal of collecting these, like, Black Star Dragon Balls. I think, like, Goku being a child and trying to make him an adult again is a goal in and of itself that would have fitted a more lighthearted tone if they wanted to do that, but clearly they wanted to have some sort of bigger threat because they're just coming off of the end of Z. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'll enjoy it. Again, I'm not looking for a masterpiece with this series. I just want to have a fun, enjoyable time. So I'll keep my thoughts going as we continue. So far, I don't dislike the series. I just think it's rather odd. I'm adjusting to this tone and style, but we'll see how things continue on moving forward.